After losing 3 games in a row, the Marquette Golden Eagles are trying to right the ship at the beginning of conference play against the number 16 Georgetown Hoyas. Live on GoMarquette.com and MarquetteWire.org, this is a production of Marquette Men's Lacrosse. Welcome to our broadcast booth. My name is Andrew Goldstein. I will be your play-by-play man for today, and I'm joined by my color commentating compadre, Dean Bibbins. Dean, how the heck are you?
I'm doing great, Andrew. How are you?
Pretty good, but you know who's probably not doing very well right now? Marquette. They're entering conference play under less than ideal circumstances.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Marquette's lost their last 3 games, as you mentioned, falling to Bellarmine and Robert Morris in Michigan, and they're not really healthy right now. I mean, they've got a guy in Anthony Orsini, their freshman attackman, and he's leading the Golden Eagles with 10 goals, 3 assists, but he missed last game against Michigan. He is active tonight, and it looks like we've got the national anthem coming up, so I'm going to stop talking for a little bit.
Sure, national anthem and opening acts when we return.
Alrighty.
Yeah, welcome back. Andrew Goldstein, Dean Bibbins, getting ready for the call of Marquette Georgetown. Golden Eagles coming into this one at 3-3, Georgetown at 6-1. And for the Hoyas, it's all about their twin scoring threats, Jake Caraway and Danielle Bucaro. And Joe Amplo was saying to us he may not be able to contain them with the lineup he has.
Yeah, and what Joe Amplo really said is it's about a team effort today. It's not going to be one person trying to shut down another. It has to be the team containing these 2 incredible scoring threats. And for the Hoyas, sophomore attackman Jake Caraway leads their team in scoring with 23 goals and 12 assists. I mean, that's just an incredible number to start the season.
Joe Amplo in his 7th season at the helm of Marquette, 43-40 overall. He's led his team to back-to-back Big East tournament titles. And then across the sideline from him is Coach Kevin Warren of Georgetown in his 6th season. The 2 were roommates at Hofstra. They're the best man at each other's wedding, so a nice sense of familiarity coming into this game.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be a competitive match, though. You know both of these guys are going to want to come out and win this game, and it's going to be a good one. I think Marquette's going to come out. They want to snap this 3-game losing streak, and it's definitely going to be close. Big East play is underway, and Big East play is always close competition.
Starting lineups for the Golden Eagles have been introduced. Jack Zarillo, Nick Grill, Connor McClellan, Griffin Fleming, Jackson Ellert, Peter Hankhouse, Cole Blazer in goal, Anthony Orsini back in the lineup after missing the last game against Michigan, John Wagner, the junior attackman out of St. David's, Ontario. We're going to be talking a lot about him. And Brendan Connolly on defense, rounding things out for Marquette. For Georgetown, these starting lineups have not loaded onto our iPads yet. The only one for sure is Nick Morocco in goal. The captains trot out for the coin toss. We need to talk about getting off to fast starts because so far Marquette has not been good at that. They've been outscored 20-10 in the first 15 minutes of games.
Yeah, it's definitely something that they need to do, and without freshman attackman Anthony Orsini in their last game against Michigan, they were out one in the face-off category, 13-10. And Orsini's a guy that leads Marquette overall lifetime in face-off percentage. So he's a guy that they're going to definitely need to depend upon in this game, and that's how they're going to get off to a good start.
Peter Tagliaferri taking the opening face-off for Georgetown. The sophomore out of Danville, California, Jared Horschman, the sophomore out of Cortland Manor, New York, taking it for Marquette in lieu of Zachary Malillo. the all-time leader in face-off percentage, who is out with an injury. This is a protracted face-off, neither guy giving an inch. I think this is the longest face-off I've ever seen to start a game. Yeah, we're now 20 seconds in, and Hirschman's trying to get around Peter Tagliaferri, who's just kind of trapping the ball. And finally, it's golfed out to the side, scooped up by Georgetown. Kieran Jenkins will get things started. Ground ball quickly going back Marquette's way. Scooping up there is Noah Richard, the junior long stick midi out of Westchester, Pennsylvania.
And right away here, Marquette's going to look to be aggressive on the attack, try and swing it to the back of the goal and try and put one in the net right away on Georgetown.
Yeah, well, even though Georgetown turned the ball over quickly, it has to be a good sign that they actually won the opening faceoff, because they were only 6 of 27 on those in their last game, a 15-10 loss to Drexel. Now facilitating things out of the midfield is Peter Hankenhaus, the sophomore out of Palos Verdes, California. He's the one that nearly scored a game winner against Ohio State in overtime before John Wagner finally did. Hankhaus's shot bounced off the post, and speaking of Wagner, here he is trying to get around a double team. Georgetown's been astute with their slides on defense so far this season. As the ball goes into the far corner, battling for it is Hankhaus, who eventually comes up with it. And you hear the talking and the emotion on Georgetown's sideline. This is a team that's really invested in their season. They were a combined 6-22 in the 2 years before this. They have as many wins this year, 6-1, as they've had in their last 2 years.
Yeah, that's incredible to think about, Andrew. And you got to think about how proud these kids have to be nationally ranked now, number 16 in the country. That's a really big accomplishment to start the season heading into Big East play.
The shot clock's been turned on, and that is a rip far wide of goal by Connor McClellan, backstop by Orsini. Shot clock rests at 24 seconds. Unlike women's lacrosse, there's no automatic shot clock. It just turns on at the referee's discretion. Now shoveled behind the net with the inside roll, and they're saying goal. It's going to be a goal for Griffin Fleming. He made an inside move on goal line extended, went with the low shot, and it just kind of dribbled into the net past Nick Morocco, the senior goalkeeper for Georgetown. And an early statement for Marquette. They're on the board, 1-0 with 12:44 to go in the first.
Yeah, now, Andrew, if you're Joe Amplo, you have to be absolutely thrilled with this start. Like you said earlier, they haven't gotten off to quick starts in games. And coming out in your first Big East game against Georgetown, you want to beat this ranked team, and 1-0 already. That's a huge start for them.
What a nice move by Fleming. He was being pressed up against the net and I guess back towards behind the cage. And then he just put it right back inside and beat Nick Morocco from a rough angle. So it's 1-0 Golden Eagles. And back to the face-off X we go. Ball still bouncing around. A scrum in there. It's kind of hard not to get hurt in those as it's picked up by Noah Richard again. Richard shuffling it off to Wagner. A little scruff on the sidelines between Tagliaferri and DeLuca as both of them kind of bumped into each other trying to sub into the game. On the left wing, here's Colin Strange, the junior out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Strange behind the cage to Orsini, who likes to facilitate from that X-attack position. Orsini was double-teamed, flips that pass a long way wide, but it's scooped up by Colin Reel. Reel shoved down, now shuffled over. And there's a loose stick on Georgetown's defense. Golden Eagles playing at a frenetic pace. Nice rip from Reel, out of bounds, backstopped by Marquette.
Couldn't tell if Georgetown got a stick on that one to deflect it wide of the goal, but it looked like a pretty good save.
The Golden Eagles are definitely coming out more inspired than they have in their last couple of games. If you remember 2 weeks ago, the last time they played in the Dome, they were blown out by Robert Morris. And really, that one was no contest, 12-2. Robert Morris took the advantage from pretty much the first couple of minutes and never surrendered it as John Wagner rips it in.
That one is almost impossible to stop, Andrew. I mean, he launched that one into the back of the net. Great shot there from Wagner. Marquette leads 2-0 now.
Unmarked from the top of the offensive box, John Wagner pots his 10th goal of the year. And all of a sudden, the Golden Eagles are up 2-0 with 11:23 left in the first. Timeout, Georgetown. And boy, what a different team we are seeing so far.
Yeah, so far Marquette's done a good job of just possessing the ball, being patient with their shots, and just doing a good job of working Georgetown. They're really kind of aggravating them. Georgetown was trying to be a little too aggressive there at times. They had a couple guys knocked over, but Marquette obviously making some good passes there, and Wagner able to fire a shot into the back of the net.
Well, Joe Amplo was telling us this week that he was concerned about his offense. He said that they're not necessarily the most talented group. They're still inexperienced. But now it seems like the Golden Eagles are playing the role that you would expect Georgetown to play as the early aggressors.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the thing, too, about Marquette's offense is entering 2018, they just returned one of its top 7 and 2 of its top 11 scores from last season. So it's a big adjustment for the Golden Eagles this season. It's a really big adjustment. And in this game, they've done a really nice job so far of getting out to this early start. It's important against a very talented Georgetown team.
The all-time series is tied at 3-3. Golden Eagles have taken the last 2, both by a goal. Last year they won 11-10 at the Hilltop. It was the first victory for the road team in any of those 6 games. So usually in this series, the home crowds play a big factor. And even though the Dome's capacity right now is only 500 people, it looks pretty packed to me over on that far sideline.
Yeah, when I first walked in today, Andrew, I've never been in the Domes before, and I was shocked to see how many people are in here, because you see men's soccer games, I feel like they don't get nearly as many people for those games as they do here.
And Marquette hope to be able to move out to Valley Fields, where the men's and women's soccer team play next week when the weather's nice, but it looks like that might not happen. The grounds aren't in great shape, so Marquette-Villanova will likely be played in here, and then the Golden Eagles will move outside when they take on Notre Dame April 11th. But those 2 games are far from Marquette's mind right now. They're entirely focused on this one, where they're up 2-0 through the first 3 minutes and change. In case you're just joining us, John Wagner, Griffin Fleming have potted both goals for Marquette. Georgetown still looking for their first one. Hoyas gain possession here. Ball shuffled over to Lucas Wittenberg, the junior out of Kennesaw, Georgia, transfer from Mercer. Last year he led Mercer with 28 points. When your program increases in prominence, as Georgetown has done, you start to attract really good, not only recruits, but transfers from around the country.
Yeah, that's for sure, Andrew. And I mean, what Georgetown has done this season, it's been incredible. I mean, they've already matched their win total, you said, from the past 2 seasons with 6 already. It's great that they're able to recruit better players, and you see the results are paying off here in the early going.
Here's Jake Caraway, the dangerous attacker for Georgetown, potted 23 goals on the year. Expect the Hoyas to look for him early and often. Shot clock hasn't been turned on yet, but you get the feeling that it might soon if the Hoyas don't attempt a shot. Speaking of a shot, there's the first one from Lucas Wittenberg, saved by Cole Blazer. Picked up in transition by Richard. Golden Eagles have a fast break opportunity. Richard will take it back out, wait for his offense to catch up. And now a rip into the back of the net. Oh, what a shot by Luke Anderson, just subbed into the game in transition, and that is his first goal of the season.
Yeah, and Marquette, very important for them to get out in transition there, and they kind of slowed it down a little bit just to work for that better shot, and there it was for Luke Anderson. I mean, he was able to rip that one right in the back of the net. 3-0 Marquette.
Well, Joe Amplo was just kind of hoping his team could compete with Georgetown. How's this for competing? 3-0 through the first 5 minutes.
He's got to be thrilled with how his team is playing so far.
And everything about those slow starts we were talking about, I think we can
throw those out the window.
Pretty safely crumple up those notes and toss them away.
Absolutely.
The Georgetown sideline that was so chatty and full of emotion in the first minute or 2 of this game has fallen silent right beside us. That was a face-off win, but a nice stick check by Kersell, and now that's a turnover. Georgetown has an opportunity. Caraway trying to facilitate the offense. An ill-advised pass from Kersell. Now behind cage, Austin McDonald, junior out of Olney, Maryland. The Hoyas have access to that recruiting hotbed of Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, which produces some of the best lacrosse talent in the country. probably the best lacrosse talent in the country. There's Wittenberg, one-on-one with goal, and it's saved. Oh, Austin McDonald had a great chance there to beat Cole Blazer, but Blazer denied him one-on-one.
Yeah, that was a great save there by Blazer. I mean, that was a point-blank shot, and I'm surprised he was able to get a stick on that and save it. He gloved it.
Well, the Hoyas spread Marquette's defense perfectly, but Cole Blazer came up big. Blazer averaging a 41.8% save percentage on the year.
And I'm not sure if we have a possession statistic so far, but so far I feel like Marquette's about 75-25 as far as possession goes with Marquette against Georgetown. I mean, they're really possessing the ball well, and they're taking their time against this Georgetown defense, trying to wear them down.
Yeah, I would love to see time of possession and place of possession stats for both of these teams because I get the feeling that they would heavily favor Marquette through the first couple minutes here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to wrap around goal is McClellan. Now back up top, John Wagner. Low shot saved by Morocco. Ground ball back out, collected by Griffin Fleming. Nice reaction time by Morocco.
That looked like it clipped him in the arm there. That had to hurt.
Morocco averaging a 52.5% save percentage on the year. He just logged his first of the day out of 4 shots.
Yeah, a big one too. You don't want Marquette to go up 4-0 right away if you're Georgetown.
Let me clarify that, folks. 6 total shots, 4 shots on goal. And now a low shot saved again. Anthony Orsini was trying to go near post off that feed from Wagner. It'll be out of bounds back to Marquette.
Another great save there by Morocco.
Trying to duck in close to net is Peter Hankhouse. Being closed down there by the long pole, Gibson Smith, the freshman out of Pelham, New York, was recruited by Bucknell, Villanova, and others. Orsini going across, and that's a ground ball in the crease, and a flag comes out. It's going to be maybe a check of some kind. I thought it was a crease violation at first, but Georgetown's sideline looks like it's the one that's despondent over this.
Yeah, and you just missed Joe Amplo, too. He came screaming out onto the field. He looked incredibly upset by what just happened.
Yeah, well, Joe Amplo is one of the more emotive coaches in the country, so we will wait for the official call. Looks like it might be a man-up opportunity for Marquette. Now checking into the game, Bob Pelton. Pelton, one of the players that Joe Amplo said will have to step up in order to account for all of these injuries. It's going to be a penalty on Stephen McLeod, an illegal body check, so it'll be a minute's man-up opportunity for Marquette, although it looks like they've squandered it a little bit by turning it over. I'll be honest, I didn't really see the illegal check, but the pileup was taking place on the far side of the field from us.
Yeah, it was a little hard to see what happened there, but I think the refs did get it right.
3-0 Marquette, 6 minutes, 35 seconds remaining in the first. Georgetown will get to release that extra man back in 6 minutes and 15 seconds, so they'll have about 15 more seconds to play with a man down. Georgetown has actually not scored a man-down goal this year, and unless they shoot in the next 5 seconds, it doesn't look like they're going to. So it's 6 minutes, 15 seconds. That extra man is allowed to walk back onto the field, and it'll be Stephen McLeod. 7 ground balls, 3 caused turnovers. McLeod, the long pole, does a lot of the dirty work. And if you're Georgetown, all you want right now is a possession that ends in a decent shot.
Yeah, for sure. And you want to, if you're Georgetown too, you kind of want to slow Marquette's tempo down. If you could get a goal here, that would definitely throw Marquette off their rhythm a little bit.
Here's Wittenberg trying to go low. Blazer saves it. And Cole Blazer is pitching a perfecto so far.
Yeah, he's made 2 incredible saves thus far, Andrew. One high, one low.
Yeah, 3 shots and 2 saves, including that one point-blank shot that not only do I not know how he saved it, I don't know how anybody saves that. Now facilitating is Bucaro. It's really the first time Bucaro's had the ball on his stick all day. It's never a good thing when one of your primary scorers is only touching the ball for the first time 10 minutes into the game. Caraway trying to wrap around goal line extended, now feeding it to the other side. Down in the box for Marquette is Colin Reel. He was shoved to the ground, no call though, as that shot will go wide, backstop by Georgetown. Now a rip saved. Lucas Wittenberg tried to go across the face of goal. Cole Blazer was having none of it. What a game for Blazer as Marquette's going quickly in transition. Richard shot saved. The referee will signal a stoppage. And it looks like Marquette will maybe get the ball back here. Have to wait for the call.
I'm not sure if it was a dead ball or what happened there, but
yeah, maybe it's a loose ball push on Georgetown. Either way, the Golden Eagles are going to get it back as both teams try to frenetically switch on and off. When teams are in transition, the perfection that you have to have in subbing players is so precise, is you don't want the player you want subbed out to get stuck having to defend someone. Wagner back to Connor McClelland. 6 goals on the season for him, including 4 in the season opener against Jacksonville. John Wagner got the attention in that game because he scored the game winner with 9 seconds left, but McClellan was the one really powering the offense from that midfield position. There's Hank House running around a screen from Richard. Here's Orsini into the box and a goal. Oh, what a beautiful off-ball move by McClelland. He notches his 7th goal of the season and 1st of the day.
What an incredible cut there. It was very, very smart by him to cut to the goal there, and he was unmarked, and it just left him with a nice empty, a nice easy lane to the goal. I mean, 4-0 Marquette already, and I'd be curious to know if Georgetown has ever been held scoreless in the first quarter this season.
Well, they were held drawless in the first quarter against Drexel, but scoreless, I don't believe so. 4-0 Golden Eagles, 3 minutes, 41 seconds remaining in this first quarter. And Georgetown's defense looks anxious, chasing the ball handler and really not paying any attention to the cutters.
Yeah, and there's nothing Morocco could have done there on that. I mean, he's made some incredible saves thus far for Georgetown, as well as Blazer on Marquette's end, but Georgetown's definitely got to pick the effort up on the defensive end.
Yeah, and for a team that's looked so disciplined all year long, Georgetown looks anything but through the first 10-plus minutes. And as for the Golden Eagles, they're a team that always seems to punch above their weight class. I mean, people forget that last year they only went 8-8, 2-3 in conference, and yet, of course, they won the Big East tournament. They beat Denver and hung with Notre Dame for a little bit in the NCAA tournament.
They're a team that likes big competition, that's for sure, Andrew.
Yep. The theme that Joe Amplo, Marquette's head coach, always seems to drive home is play with something to prove. And for how often people have doubted this Marquette team, they certainly have a lot to prove. Oh, a high shot for Craig Burge, the junior out of Massapequa, New York. It looks like he was kind of tapped on the stick in his shooting motion. Good defense by the Golden Eagles.
I think he was trying to send that one over to Miller Park.
And if you observe number 4 for Georgetown, Daniel Bucaro, he is being shadowed all around the field by sophomore Nick Grill. And really, Grill and Blazer are the 2 defensive leaders on this team, 1 in goal, 1 on the defensive line. Nick Grill, the sophomore out of Bridgewater, New Jersey, the brother of BJ Grill, played for Marquette, now in Major League Lacrosse. And Grill's really their best defender, although he lost track of Daniel Bucaro there. A slashing goal, and Georgetown finally on the board. 4-1 Marquette with 2:22 remaining in the first.
Well, there's a goal for Georgetown, and it definitely cuts into the momentum that Marquette had to start this game, and we'll see if Georgetown could put another one on there to try and bring it closer as the first quarter winds down.
Well, Joe Amplo said that Daniel Bucaro might be the best player that Marquette has seen so far this season. And that includes Trey LeClaire, who's an All-American candidate for Ohio State. So high praise for Daniel Buccaro, and he just showed why with his speed and finishing ability, putting that one in the net for his 23rd of the season. He's now tied for Georgetown's team lead in goals. And another protracted face-off here between Tagliaferri and Hirschman. A nice win for Tagliaferri. Georgetown holds a 4-2 face-off advantage so far. And a brief technical foul called on Georgetown, so the ball will go back to Marquette. Richard over to Orsini. Orsini fading back towards the goal line. He usually likes to facilitate from behind the cage. Jack Zerillo handling it for the first time. Zerillo, the redshirt junior out of Syracuse, New York. Brother plays at Rutgers. Here's Matt DeLuca, cut off there by Ryan Hersey, one of the team captains for Georgetown, the senior leader in the defensive midfield. The Hoyas right up against their sideline, so the coaching staff able to yell out instruction to them. Always an advantage, especially when you're struggling on defense. We have approached a minute to go here in the first as that low shot from John Wagner is saved. Wagner always likes to start with his stick high and then kind of get those ground ball one-hoppers past the goalkeeper. Nick Morocco will have none of it.
Yeah, Andrew, I mean, with John Wagner, he is such a scary guy to be going up against defensively. I mean, he's 6'2", 200 pounds, and it looked like Georgetown wanted no part of him as he drove to the goal there and tried to fire a shot on net.
He's definitely Marquette's most physical attacker. 9 goals, 5 assists so far, although he's been held to only 2 goals in his last 3 games as that shot is saved. Ground ball, a lot of sticks in there. 27 seconds remaining in the first, and it's a fast break opportunity for the Hoyas. Ryan Hersey comes out of it, matched up one-on-one with DeLuca. Hersey with a rip, and it bounces over goal. 15 seconds remaining in the first. Marquette will try to hold on until the end of the clock, and it looks like they will be able to do so, although maybe they'll get the opportunity to pot another one here. 5 seconds remaining, firing wide of goal is Matt DeLuca. 2.4 seconds remaining in the first quarter. An eventful one at that. The Golden Eagles up 4-1 as we close the books on the first 15 minutes of play. And for a team that's been struggling out of the gates, this is about the best you could have hoped for. When Joe Amplo went to sleep last night and he dreamed of the ideal start to this game, I can't imagine that it would be much different than this.
No, absolutely not. And I think a lot of the credit has to go to Cole Blazer. He's got 3 or 4 saves already today, and they've been difficult saves. And then for Georgetown, I think Morocco is also not given enough credit. They've given up 4 goals, obviously, but he's made another. I think he's had 2 or 3 saves as well. So, I mean, the defense for Georgetown needs to pick it up if they want to continue to play with Marquette in the second quarter. And Marquette, all they need to do is continue possessing the ball. They had a lot of good possessions there on the offensive end and really work Georgetown down. That's all you got to do, and then you'll come away with the victory today.
Now, Dean and listeners, if you will indulge me for a second, I need to tell a story.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's about Cole Blazer.
Sure.
Because I read a story 2 years ago on Fox 6, the Milwaukee news affiliate in town, about how Cole Blazer would always go over to Joe Amplo's house on Sunday and work on restoring his classic car. He's got a 1968 Mustang GT. They'd hope to have it done by the end of that summer. That was summer 2016. So I thought, you know what, let me follow up on this in the meeting. So I asked Coach Amplo, is that car driving? Is it done? And he said, when you see Cole Blazer next, ask him where my car is, ask him when I'm going to get that back. And then I'm like, wait, Cole Blazer stole your car? So he told the story. He said Cole and his teammate, sophomore attacker Dylan Dabrowski, they were working on it. They had some skills, some mechanical skills. They were working on restoring this car. And apparently they messed something up with it. So Dylan Dabrowski's father, who's a mechanic back in New Jersey, said, you know what, send it over to me and I'll take care of it. That was 9 months ago. And so I said, do you know where your car is right now? Do you have a status update? And Joe Amplo said, Tony Soprano could have my car for all I know. So he said next time you see Cole, he said he was going to get it to me by the time he graduated. So I told him, I said, I'm from Jersey. Next time I'm home, I'll cruise by the joint with the windows down and see if I can see your car anywhere. So if Mr. Dabrowski or Cole or Dylan's family are listening, please, we need Joe Amplo's car back. It's a 1968 Mustang GT. It's a real nice one.
Hashtag return Joe's car.
Yeah. You see, that's why the team's not winning. You have to return the car or suffer the curse.
It's the good luck charm. That's a great story.
Yeah. Well, maybe the present for winning a third consecutive Big East tournament, if the Golden Eagles do it, is the car back. Yeah, but he'd hoped to have that thing tooling around Cedarburg, Wisconsin by the end of 2 summers ago, and it hasn't quite worked out that way. But with Cole Blazer's play in goal today, he might be able to forgive him for that because he's been nothing short of phenomenal. 4 shots on goal for Georgetown, 3 saves.
Yeah, but what car is Joe Amplo driving now then?
Yeah, well, I think, you have the everyday car and then you kind of have your project because you're not going to be tooling around in a 1968 Mustang on a regular basis.
That's true. That is true.
That's your Sunday car. The face-off win for Marquette, scooped up by Richard. Now back behind the cage is Blazer. He'll facilitate the offense. One of the things to notice about Cole Blazer and kind of a sign of his senior leadership, he's not afraid to take the ball behind the cage and kind of take a beat before distributing. A lot of the times with younger goalkeepers, you'll see them kind of panic and just want to get the ball away, and they'll turn it over. Cole Blazer, I can't think of a time where he's ever done that.
Yeah, he's a confident keeper, and I mean, being a senior, he's got the experience now. He knows what he's doing in goal, and he's got the confidence to take it out of net and make a good pass when needed.
There's Peter Henkhaus. Coming into the season, Henkhaus was really part of the second line on offense. Kind of if they needed a sub, they would put him in. And Henkhaus is a guy that Joe Amplo said he sort of forced us to play him because of how good he's been. Wagner double-teamed, now dishing it to McClellan. And you notice how 2 guys immediately slide over to John Wagner whenever he has the ball. You reference that 6'2", 200-pound frame. You kind of need 2 guys to contain him in most cases.
Yeah, he's just a freakish physical specimen. That's the best way I would describe him because it's almost impossible to stop him.
And Orsini was trying to connect with Griffin Fleming right in front of the crease. That pass went high. The Golden Eagles don't really have a lot of those one-on-one guys this year. In the past, you think of people like Andy DiMache and Jordan Greenfield, guys that could go one-on-one with the defense and win and score. Marquette really doesn't have that. Joe Amplo said, I want to see 15, 20 passes before we shoot this year because that's how we're going to win. And that's a low shot on goal saved. Craig Burge doing the shooting, and then as always, Cole Blazer doing the saving. But that is a cleared, that's an unsuccessful clear by Marquette. It's the first unsuccessful clear by either team. Up until this point, Golden Eagles were 4 of 4 on them. So the first turnover on one of those comes with 12:56 left in the second quarter. Golden Eagles up 4-1.
Yeah, I think we jinxed Cole Blazer there. He just threw it in no man's land. There's
Wittenberg. Far side, knifing in now is Matt Behrens. Here's Caraway. Georgetown, I guess, trying to be a little bit more deliberate with their offense, not trying to win so much one-on-one like they usually do. And that is an easy turnover. And Georgetown looks all kinds of messed up right now on offense. Daniel Bucaro can't make the easy connection with Wittenberg.
Yeah, they've certainly been sloppy thus far as Marquette's driving up the field here.
Marquette trying to score before Georgetown gets their defense set, and they are successful in that endeavor. Griffin Fleming burying it in the bottom of the net, his 4th goal of the year and his 2nd of the day.
I mean, turnovers are just a huge killer, Andrew, and I mean, you see it there. Marquette capitalizes right away. They get back on the offensive end, quick passes, and an easy goal for them. Turnovers will kill you.
Yeah, check that. It's Fleming's 5th goal of the year. And Marquette is running riot, 5-1 with 12:03 remaining.
Now, Andrew, a question I have for you. Do you think Joe Amplo and Kevin Warren have a little bet on this game? I mean, they're close friends.
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely. In fact, I'm going to ask him about that after the game. And what a story Griffin Fleming is. His brother Blaine played here. He suffered a knee injury last season, missed all last year. And then his 3 goals on the season prior to this game all came against Michigan. So really, Griffin Fleming was not a main contributor on offense until last week. Then all of a sudden, boom, 5 goals in 80 minutes. And for a Marquette team that's desperate for contributors on offense, Griffin Fleming is exactly what they needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now taking his time behind the cage is Justin Meichner, sophomore out of New Canaan, Connecticut. And here's Buccaro trying to dodge his way in, unsuccessful though. Now trying to facilitate something more at the top of the box. Back over to Buccaro. Marquette's long poles getting a long way from the crease. They know that Georgetown's offense can score from anywhere, so they really have to challenge everything as that shot hits the post. That was a wonderful opportunity for Jake Caraway coming around a screen. And if that ball were maybe an inch to the right, it would be 5-2 right now.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I didn't know if Blazer got a stick on that or not, but
10:43 remaining in the second quarter. Golden Eagles up 5-1. And Georgetown's had a couple of good scoring opportunities and haven't been able to convert. It's not hard to imagine a world where this game is 5-4. And so far, the Golden Eagles have thoroughly outplayed the Hoyas.
yeah, as we talked about earlier, Marquette has really just dominated possession on Georgetown's defensive half of the field. And the turnovers have just killed Georgetown in this whole game. I mean, Marquette's had a couple goals off of turnovers, and right now they're just taking it easy. Like you said, Amplo wants them to make a lot of passes before taking a shot on goal. They're working for that good shot, and they've had 5 good shots this game that have gone in the back of the net.
There's Hankhouse trying to draw a double. Now trying to feed it into a cutter. It's unsuccessful. Ground ball picked up. In transition we go. And another ground ball. Scrum for it on the far side of the field. Golden Eagles really contesting Georgetown's clears. Now all of a sudden the Hoyas have a brief fast break opportunity that they choose not to press. And instead it'll be Buccaro trying to facilitate the offense. Usually Buccaro's good at that, 13 assists, but he's been held without an assist so far today. Now knifing in is Matt Behrens, the senior out of Bronxville, New York. Another lacrosse hotbed. Actually, women's lacrosse here at Marquette had a player from Bronxville last year, Lena Atayan. She graduated. And that's a low shot saved again by Blazer. Backstop by Georgetown, so the Hoyas will get another chance at it.
Blazer is playing out of this world right now.
That's a timeout called by Marquette. Joe Amplo's first. 6 shots on goal for Georgetown, 5 saves by Cole Blazer.
That's an incredible percentage, Andrew. And, you know, like I just said, he's playing out of this world right now. And Georgetown, you got to be a little frustrated. I mean, they put some pretty good shots on net, and Blazers just made tremendous saves at point-blank range.
Yeah, they're actually not going to count that as a shot on goal, though
Really?
It looks pretty on target to me.
Oh, wow, yeah, that looked like it was going in for sure.
But in case you're just joining us, let's give you a brief update on where we are right now. Marquette up 5-1 with 8 minutes, 37 seconds left in the second quarter. Georgetown's lone goal coming from Daniel Buccaro. 2 Marquette goals coming from Griffin Fleming, 1 from John Wagner, 1 from Connor McClelland, and 1 from Luke Anderson, his first of the year. And one of the underrated stats that we really haven't been paying a lot of attention to so far is ground balls. Both these teams tied at 9, but the one that really stands out is Noah Richard from Marquette, picking up 4 of them with the long stick in the midfield. Noah Richard has been all over the place in that middle third.
Yeah, and Marquette's done a nice job of transitioning with the ground balls, too. When they grab it and then they work it up the field so nicely and so smoothly. They were weaving in and out of Georgetown's defense pretty effectively in the first half.
Shots are pretty even at 13-12 Marquette. Shots on goal, 7-5 Marquette. But the saves have made the difference, as Cole Blazer has 4 and Nick Morocco only has 2. Face-offs, Georgetown has won 5 of 8, Marquette 3 of 8. And then on clears, Georgetown a perfect 4 for 4, Marquette 6 of 7. Golden Eagles actually have 5 turnovers compared to Georgetown's 3, so the stats say this is a pretty evenly played game. It's really that first 5-minute barrage for Marquette that's setting them apart.
Yep.
Now knifing in with a shot is Jake Caraway wide of goal. Georgetown will get it back. Caraway has been trying to facilitate something. Getting those running starts and firing at goal. Hasn't been able to notch anything, though.
Yeah, and if you're Georgetown, you just got to keep attacking. That's the bottom line. I mean, they've gotten their shots on target. They just need to keep attacking, and one will go in eventually here.
Yeah, 3 shots for Caraway, no goals. Here's Buccaro with a low shot wide of goal. Backstopped again by Georgetown. One of the things the Hoyas have done a nice job of is actually getting behind their shots and making sure that they're recovered, as that's another one saved by Blazer.
Blazer.
I can't tell whether that's Cole Blazer or Tim Howard with a stick.
Yeah, I mean, just some just tremendous saves, and he took that one off the leg there, so I'll leave a nice welt in the morning.
Yeah, I can't imagine all of the bumps and bruises that Cole Blazer must accumulate, although Georgetown finally gets one through. Craig Burge, unmarked at the top of the box, puts one in. His 9th goal of the season and first of the day. 5-2 Marquette with 7 minutes, 48 seconds remaining till half.
Yeah, and with the barrage of shots that Georgetown has been firing at Blazer, you had to figure that one of these were going to go in eventually, and there it is. Georgetown puts another one on the board. So they only trail by 3 now. Certainly attainable. Marquette needs to definitely possess the ball well here and try and end this quarter on a high note. Obviously, there's still 7:48 left, but
we spent so much time talking about Daniel Buccaro and Jake Caraway that we really neglected to mention Craig Burge, the senior out of Massapequa, New York. He was all Big East second team last year. He had 14 goals, 12 assists. So this is a potent player that often gets open looks because of all of the attention paid to Caraway and Buccaro. It's a face-off win for Marquette. So the margin is now 5-4 in face-offs in favor of Georgetown. If you're Marquette, you just want to slow things down, take a beat. Because with how focused this Hoyas team has been, 5-2 can easily turn into 5-5 by halftime.
That is for sure. And Georgetown actually, they trailed 5-3 against Towson earlier in the season, and they came back from that deficit. So 5-2 is definitely manageable.
Wagner coming around a screen and scoring. John Wagner putting in his 2nd goal of the day. He only had 2 in the previous 3 games. But it's all working for Marquette right now. Coming around a screen and firing high is Wagner.
Yeah, just as I was tooting Georgetown's horn saying that they could come back, here's another goal for Marquette. Marquette answers every time Georgetown puts a goal on the board.
Well, the thing that's so tough for Wagner is because he's the only really physical player on this offense, he is #1 on opposing team scouts every single time. So it's rare that he doesn't get double-teamed or stick-checked every time he gets the ball. But he pots one in there. It's 6-2 Marquette, 6 minutes, 58 seconds remaining until the half.
And, Andrew, another thing about Wagner that's so incredibly difficult to guard is he's so quick. Despite his size, you would think for a big guy he's not going to be able to move so quickly. He is quick off the ball, and he's got a very good first step. So that makes it really hard for defenders to contain him.
6 of Marquette's 7 leading scorers from last year did not return. John Wagner was the only one that came back. So Wagner really responsible not only for scoring goals, but for getting an inexperienced offense to gel with each other. And it seems like it's going pretty well so far.
Yes, indeed.
Here's Henkhaus firing high. Nick Morocco coming up with a save. Georgetown trying to get something going quickly. Caraway fires wide. Jake Caraway had a nice look at that one from the left wing. but couldn't get it done. Now Georgetown trying for a quick restart. Nick Grill locking down Buccaro. Coach Amplo raved about Nick Grill. He said that his brother was a little bit faster, but Grill is stronger and has a little bit of a higher lacrosse IQ, although he can't stop that one from going in. The Hoyas get one back in short order. It's 6-3 now with 5 minutes, 45 seconds remaining.
So this is a Georgetown team that averages close to 13 goals a game, Andrew, and you know this offense is definitely going to get going here at some point. It was just a matter of when, and they've got 3 on the board. Don't be surprised if they come back with another 2 and bring this to within a 1 or maybe even tie this before the quarter comes to an end. It's definitely possible. This is a high-octane offense.
Matt Barron scoring that goal for the Hoyas. His 8th of the season.
Another thing to mention, too, Andrew, is that Georgetown's a team that's holding their opponents to just about 9 goals a game. Marquette's already at 6 in the second quarter, so good start for them.
The Golden Eagles off to a good start. Hirschman wins that faceoff clean, tries to get something going to the goal quickly. But Behrens is kind of another overlooked player on this Georgetown team. He has actually never missed a game. He's played in all 51 leading up to this one since he was a freshman.
Yeah, that's something you got to love for as a coach, just durability from a player, somebody that you could consistently rely upon.
Yeah, not just durability, but someone who's good enough to play from day 1 of freshman year. You don't find that very often.
You are very right.
If Marquette could steal a game here, that would mean a lot in the conference standings because Joe Amplo said that the conference is as good as he's ever seen it as McClellan gets shoved to the ground.
Big hit.
A big check from Ryan Hersey. No foul called. They're going to say it was clean. 6-3 Marquette, 4 minutes, 45 seconds remaining until the half. Now facilitating from the top of the offensive area is Buccaro. Buccaro trying to beat Nick Grill. Shuts down the angle there, and Buccaro will probably find someone to pass it to. Now behind the goal goes Craig Burge. He's probably happy back in early February when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. He's a huge Eagles fan. His coach is a big Jets fan, so respect.
Poor coach.
Now back over to the top. That looked like a high stick to me from Noah Richard. No call.
Yeah, the ref's right there, too. Jeez.
Physical game. Yeah, that one got a little bit too close to the helmet. As that shot from Daniel Buccaro deflects off, well, just about everything and goes far over goal. 3 minutes, 42 seconds remaining until halftime. Now feeding back and a low shot goal, Matt Behrens, his 2nd of the game, off the dish from Craig Burge. And all of a sudden, Georgetown starting to pull it back a little bit. 6-4 Marquette.
Yeah, just as I said, Georgetown, this is a high-octane offense, and they've had a lot of shots this game, so you got to expect these goals to come in Marquette. If you're Marquette, that turnover on the other end comes back to bite them, just as Georgetown's turnover did. You got to be able to possess the ball and not have turnovers. I mean, that's the biggest killer in this sport.
Well, Matt Behrens is usually the go-to guy on the man-up unit, which Georgetown hasn't really gotten the chance to exercise. Usually when it's full man, they look for either Burge or Buccaro or Caraway, but so far it's Matt Behrens showing out with 2 goals.
Yeah, and Georgetown's a team that really is good at causing turnovers. They have 60 caused turnovers coming into this game, and their opponents only have 39 total caused turnovers. So Georgetown is a very good defensive team, and they do capitalize off of those turnovers.
Yeah, 8.6 caused turnovers per game for Georgetown, only 5.6 for their opponents. The Golden Eagles, you have to imagine, are in no rush to get off a shot here. taking that 20 pass rule from Joe Amplo about as literally as you can take it on this possession. At least I would imagine so. As Wagner will be matched up one-on-one with Ryan Hersey. Here's Orsini turning and firing high.
Got to give Hersey a lot of credit there, staying in front of Wagner, not giving him any room to work with.
Another person you have to give a lot of credit to is Greg Galligan, who has matched up one-on-one with Orsini on that play and took away pretty much any conceivable angle he had at goal.
Yep.
Galligan, the senior out of Oyster Bay Cove, New York. Now on the far side, this is Hank House, dishing it back up top to Luke Vassos, just checked into the game, the junior out of Bethesda, Maryland, not too far from Georgetown. Shot clock hasn't been turned on yet. 2 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in the first half. Orsini trying to facilitate from the X attack, turning back towards goal. And now onto the stick of the goalkeeper, Nick Morocco. All of a sudden, Georgetown has a great transition opportunity here. Licalzi looking for his man, and he finds him. Daniel Bucaro scores, and all of a sudden, it's a one-goal game.
Just like I said here. So Georgetown's brought it to within a goal now, and Marquette just seemed a bit lackadaisical on that offensive possession there. They seem content with holding onto the ball, and it ends up in a – I think Georgetown did have a save on their shot, but, I mean, a quick transition there for Georgetown, and they're right back in this game.
Well, the Golden Eagles not doing a very good job of getting their subs on and off to stop that transition opportunity. And Georgetown, which looked moribund through the first 10 minutes, is all of a sudden right back in this game.
Yeah, they sure are, Andrew.
Now Hirschman and Tagliaferri having a tussle at the face-off X. Seems like the face-offs between these guys, well, you could read War and Peace during them. Minute 30 seconds remaining in the first half. That's a nice ground ball pickup by Richard, shoved to the ground, and that'll be a flag on Georgetown. Wouldn't be surprised to see a man-up opportunity for the Golden Eagles here.
And Andrew, I feel like with the face-offs, you could basically tick off a whole quarter of play with how much time they've spent in the center of the pitch.
So it will be a man-up opportunity for the Golden Eagles as we wait to see who exactly will have to take a seat for the Hoyas. And for Marquette, it would be wonderful if they could score a man-up goal and go into the half 7-5. They're only 6 of 23 on man-up opportunities this season. And that's a shot saved by Morocco. A big save there because now Georgetown can just hold on to the ball and kill this opportunity. There's only 30 seconds anyways. Gibson Smith is about 5 seconds from being able to check back in again. And a timeout called by Joe Amplo. It seems like a pretty astute time to call a timeout because the transition was looking a little bit lacking for Marquette again. And the Golden Eagles up only 6-5 after Georgetown has scored the last 3 goals.
Yeah, and you see a complete change in energy on both sides. You see Georgetown over here bouncing around, and you got Marquette kind of laying low right now. I mean, they don't seem as fired up as they were in the beginning of this game. Georgetown, if they could come in and tie this before halftime, I mean, that's going to be huge for their momentum and huge going forward in this game.
Daniel Bucaro with 3 of Georgetown's 5 goals. Craig Burge with 1, and Matt Behrens with the other. And for Marquette, John Wagner, Griffin Fleming have 2 goals apiece. Connor McClelland and Luke Anderson both have 1. For this Georgetown team, Coach Kevin Warren said they don't get too high or too low. Well, this is a perfect example of that. This is where having 13 seniors comes in handy because if this were a young team, maybe this 6-2 deficit gets stretched to an 8-2 or 9-2 deficit to the point where the game is really out of reach. Instead, they've hung in there and fought back.
Yeah, this is an experienced team now, and like you said, it's about just maintaining your composure in a game like this. Obviously, you go down 6-2 and you're down 4 goals, and it feels like it's a big margin to climb back from. But for Georgetown, it's not anything that they haven't seen before. Like I mentioned earlier, they were down 4 goals to Towson earlier in the season. They stormed back against Towson, won that game. And the offense for Georgetown is just incredible, as I mentioned, too. The 14 goals a game. I mean, that's that's a margin that a lot of teams can't say that they have this season. So,
well, Georgetown has certainly beaten some impressive opponents this year. Towson, Robert Morris, they won at Robert Morris 12-11.
yeah.
They're now ranked, the same team that came into the Dome and thrashed the Golden Eagles 12-2.
Yep.
Actually, there seems to be a lot of parity in lacrosse this season outside of the top couple because Michigan, which isn't a historically strong program, beat Marquette and then went on to beat Notre Dame, which is in the top 5.
Yep.
And then the same Marquette team that lost its last 3 games beat Ohio State, who was in the top 5 at the time. So anybody can lose to anybody, which makes this sport so exciting to watch on a weekend in and weekend out basis.
You got that right.
And it's scary to think that with all of the great opponents Marquette has played, this isn't even the most difficult part of the schedule by a long shot. The last 4, Notre Dame, Providence, Duke, and Denver. There are 3 top 10 teams in those last 4. That's the schedule from hell. Now knifing in and shooting in a goal, Lucas Wittenberg. Georgetown has pulled it back with 12.6 seconds remaining until halftime.
Well, I called it. There it is. They tied it up before halftime, and Georgetown now, they've got all the momentum heading into the locker room, that's for sure. I mean, Marquette, going into halftime, Amplo's definitely going to have to talk to these guys and remind them that they did score 6 goals this half, too. They are in this game still.
4 goals in the previous 5.5 minutes.
That's pretty impressive, Andrew.
And you remember in the first quarter of this game when Daniel Bucaro was being so effectively taken away?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no longer. Bucaro was wide open on that play, and then the defense sliding over to contain him generated some space for Wittenberg. Ball bouncing around in Marquette's area. Maybe Georgetown could get another one here. They got 5 seconds to get a shot off, saved by Blazer. And that contains the damage. So a dominant start for Marquette, erased in the last 5.5 minutes. And we go into the half tied 6-6.
Yeah, so, Andrew, I think the big storyline in the first quarter was Cole Blazer playing absolutely out of his mind. And he still has, I want to say he's got 6 saves now on the game after that most recent one. Blazer still played pretty well, but 5 goals in, what was it, 5 minutes you said? I mean, that's absolutely insane, and you cannot allow that if you're Marquette. But for Georgetown, their attack has been incredible, and they've really brought the momentum back onto their side in this game.
Well, the Golden Eagles will have to find a way to rally and get their first Big East Conference victory, or risk putting themselves behind the 8 ball for the Big East tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Only the top 4 of 6 teams get in, and with Denver and Providence down the stretch, Villanova too,
Villanova's
this is an
a very good team
important
as well.
one.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if the Golden Eagles can pull it off. Second half in roughly, give it about 8 minutes or so, here on GoMarquette.com and MarquetteWire.org. Welcome back to the Valley Fields Dome in beautiful Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's beautiful, but it is a little bit chilly. But the offenses have been anything but through the first 30 minutes. Golden Eagles tied with the number 16 Georgetown Hoyas 6-6 through the first 30 minutes of action here. Daniel Bucaro doing the lion's share of the scoring for Georgetown, 3 goals. Griffin Fleming and John Wagner each have 2 for Marquette. And this was really a tale of, well, not even 2 quarters, more like 2 stretches of time. First 20 minutes, maybe even the first 25 minutes, all Marquette. The last 5 minutes, all Georgetown.
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. And thus far for Georgetown, as you mentioned, Bucaro's got 3 goals, leading all players with 3 goals, and leading all players with 6 shots. This is the guy that facilitates the offense, but we were talking at halftime, too, about how Marquette's done a really good job of limiting Caraway, and he's their other leading scorer, and he's got 23 goals on the season. He's got 4 shots today, not a goal. So for Georgetown, he's somebody that they definitely want to get going. But right now, all the momentum is on Georgetown's side. They ended the half outscoring Marquette 5-2, so it's huge for them, and I expect Georgetown to come out strong in the second half.
One of the other things we were discussing in the first half, the turnover advantage that Georgetown usually has, well, that's proving to be true again today. The Golden Eagles have 8 turnovers. Georgetown has 3. And actually, of Marquette's 8, the Hoyas only caused 3 of them. Everything else, the Golden Eagles are doing to themselves.
Yeah, they've definitely beat themselves up a couple of times on the offensive end. I mean, just poor passes and just being sloppy with the ball. I mean, they have done it to themselves a little bit here. So Marquette needs to get back to what they did in the first quarter, just possessing the ball. We were talking about how they really just did a good job of controlling the ball in Georgetown's half of the field and being patient, working for that good shot. And in the second quarter, that didn't happen much. Marquette didn't really get a lot of good shots, and that's why they only had 2 goals in the second quarter. So for Amplo and his team, they got to come out, possess the ball, be patient. Don't let Georgetown get to you. Obviously, Georgetown's a ranked team, number 16 in the country. Come out, be patient, work for that good shot, and maybe something good will happen.
Well, the Golden Eagles are actually outshooting their opponents by a wide margin this season, 35.3 per game for Marquette, only 24.8 for their opponent. But in terms of shot on goal percentage, their opponents make up the ground quickly. Only 50.5% for Marquette as opposed to 61.7 for their opponents. So the Golden Eagles kind of have this habit of firing anything that they can get, especially when they get into a hole, whereas their opponents are allowed to kind of work the ball around, wait for the shot that they want. Jared Hirschman winning the opening faceoff of the second half. Golden Eagles have won 9 of 15 faceoffs, as Hirschman is doing nice work at the X. And that is a joust to the ground ball in the corner. Possession going back to the Hoyas. So we are not even 30 seconds into the second half before the Golden Eagles have an unforced error.
Yeah, not good there for Marquette, but you know, I do see that Marquette men's basketball has made their way into the building in the far corner, and maybe they'll their magic will rub off on them a little bit. Men's lacrosse kind of paid tribute to the men's basketball team by visiting them during the NIT, and that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and the NIT run in the Al McGuire Center, not only did men's lacrosse visit the team, they came up with a whole bunch of crazy free throw distractions. They were dressing up in costumes. My favorite one is when Oregon's starting lineups were being introduced in the second round game, they all pulled out copies of the Marquette Tribune and started reading them.
That was great.
Yeah, Joe Amplo said that he'd suggested to the team that they show their support for men's basketball, and he didn't have any idea that they were planning all of that. He kind of found out for the first time when he showed up to the game and saw his guys doing all those crazy things. It's a transition opportunity for Marquette off of another save from Cole Blazer, his 7th of the game. Taking his time at the top is Colin Reel. And this is the kind of slower possession that you were hoping to see from the Golden Eagles. We'll see if it bears fruit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it will. If they could possess the ball a little bit, work Georgetown down, and start cutting in, make some nice cuts like they did in the first half, I think they'll be in good shape.
There's Peter Hankhaus. 4 goals on the season for Hankhaus. He's usually more of a drive and kick guy than an actual shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been known to beat people with his speed. And speaking of beating people, John Wagner is trying to work his way in. He fires wide. Nice job on defense from Ryan Hersey. Hersey wants to be an intensive care nurse when he graduates from Georgetown. Hank House trying to wrap around, gets the angle cut off, gets beaten to the spot, and will have to feed it back behind the cage. Nice job by Greg Galligan closing down the angles. Wagner shoving his man back, and it looks like that shot deflected off the stick of Ryan Hersey.
Georgetown doing a really good job of limiting Marquette's opportunities thus far. Marquette has yet to get a really decent chance on goal yet.
Here's Wagner with an opportunity and a goal. So just as soon as you say you want Marquette to work for better shot attempts, well, there is your better shot attempt. John Wagner matched up one-on-one. That's about the best shot Marquette's offense is ever going to generate. His third goal of the day on 8 shots.
Yeah, and that's exactly the person you want taking that shot too there. John Wagner, strong side, he rips it right into the back of the net, and Marquette right back on top now.
7-6 Golden Eagles, 12:06 remaining in the third quarter. It's his 12th goal of the season, John Wagner. And actually, 2 of those goals have been game winners, the one against Jacksonville and the one against Ohio State in overtime. So the close game persists and it comes down to the last possession or two. Georgetown better be sending every single defender they've got at John Wagner.
And if you're Marquette, that's the guy you want the ball in the hands of.
Another face-off win for the Golden Eagles. Jordan McKenzie doing the scooping on that ground ball. McKenzie, the redshirt junior out of New Westminster, British Columbia. Golden Eagles actually have a decent amount of Canadian players on the team. From McKenzie to John Wagner, Keaton Thompson out of Toronto. His brother Tanner actually still on the team, figured to be one of Marquette's leading scorers coming into the year, but he's taking a medical red shirt. He had 20 goals last season, so it'll be nice for next year's team to get Tanner Thompson back. But in the meantime, the Golden Eagles will have to find a way to make do without him. Here's John Wagner, matched up with Stephen McLeod, who is sent off once already with a stick check penalty, and Wagner fires wide. Golden Eagles will get it back. And you see Wagner trying to fire that one into the ground to try and catch Nick Morocco on a crazy bounce.
Yeah, Wagner's footwork is just incredible. He has the ability to just beat you because he's so deceptive. It looks like he's going one way, and then he comes back the other way, and he beats his defender off the step. He's done it so many times this game already.
Trying for the inside roll is Fleming. He won't get it, so Marquette will have to take it back out, try and facilitate something new. Who better than John Wagner, the man who scored not only the most goals on the team, but the previous goal. Here's Zerillo. Georgetown sideline hyped up that Marquette has not been able to get off a shot attempt. And you have to wonder if the referee is going to turn on the shot clock pretty soon. And that is a caused turnover. Ball poked out of the stick of Wagner. But Marquette gets it back. Peter Henkhaus taking it out of the crowd. Wagner has Gibson Smith on him. Gibson Smith, one of the best stick workers on this team. As the shot clock is turned on, 22 seconds remaining on it, 9 minutes 57 seconds on the game clock. Now dishing it in is McClellan. That one is loose. Actually, check that, it's Fleming. Ground ball still bouncing around. Shot clock is turned off now that neither team has possession of it. And now that is Georgetown coming away with it. A wonderful jousting job by Connor Moran, the senior defender out of Moncton, Maryland. His older brother plays football at Dartmouth, so he turned on some of those football genes to go into the crowd and come up with, I guess they would call it a fumble or a ground ball in lacrosse.
And you talk about a great defensive possession right there. Again, Marquette trying to work it through John Wagner, who now has 9 shots this game. They had a lot of deflections on him, and they forced a couple turnovers there, and that huge defensive sequence after he came out and scored a goal for Marquette. So now Georgetown could try and get a goal back for themselves here, tie it up.
Here's Lucas Wittenberg. He already has 1 goal to his name. Over to Caraway. Noah Richard has done an excellent defensive job on Caraway all game long.
Yeah, he really has.
Not only on Caraway, but in terms of collecting ground balls, too. He still leads Marquette with 5 of their 18, though Jared Hirschman is coming up behind him with 4. And so far, the MVP of the game for Marquette has to be Noah Richard. Trying to facilitate from the X-attack position is Buccaro. Now on goal line extended. Back up top, Caraway's got an open shot, and he fires a hair's breadth wide of goal.
That was very fortunate for Marquette. That one looked like it was going in.
Well, he shook free of Noah Richard and Luke Anderson, who have been kind of tag teaming the defense on him, got about as good of a look as he's gotten all day and just pushed it the slightest bit wide. A double on Caraway. Brendan Connolly in on it too. It's really been more of a team effort on Caraway as opposed to on Buccaro, where Nick Grill's been the guy. And now shoved to the ground is Austin McDonald. No penalty call. Georgetown sideline not even clamoring for one. A clean shove there.
A good little play there by Colin Reel.
The Hoyas calling out for Texas, which I assume is the name of a set play. And that'll be a penalty called on Georgetown. Might have been warding off. And either way, the Golden Eagles will get the ball back. Advancing it now is Luke Anderson, dishing it over. Now onto the stick of Anthony Orsini. There's 2 of Marquette's 10 turnovers on the day. 7 minutes, 10 seconds remaining until time down in the third quarter. 7-6 Golden Eagles. So far, only 1 goal since halftime, and it's come off the mighty stick of John Wagner. Here's Bob Pelton trying to generate some space. Over to Orsini, coming around a screen from Pelton. Nice job at fighting through the screen from Hersey. Over to Wagner. Now Matt Del Luca looking for somebody to pass it to. Georgetown's really packed in on defense ever since halftime. Pelton trying to maneuver his way around Galligan. Wagner with a nice roll dodge there, firing underhand, blocked away by Morocco.
That was a nice, you see what I mean by that little first step there, Andrew? He had a nice spin move, and he never does the same thing. He's not predictable with that move. He always comes back with something different, and it throws the defense off.
You know, sometimes he'll just try and beat you with speed. Sometimes he'll throw in that spin move. Other times he'll try and cross the face. Now Wagner being defended by Hersey, who's taking no chances, and that's another turnover. Ground ball bouncing around, and it looks like the refs are going to call a loose ball push. Possession back to Marquette. 7-6 Golden Eagles. 5 minutes, 48 seconds remaining in the third. A quick turnover from the Hoyas, and that is their first missed clearance of the day. Both teams have been pretty good on it, 8 of 9. But a crucial mistake for Georgetown when it looked like they were going to seize the initiative right back.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad mistake there from Georgetown right away, because down a goal, you want to try and come back and tie it up and throw it out of bounds before you can even get a possession in.
Here's Zerillo. Over to Henkhaus. Jack Zerillo's family owns Zerillo's greenhouses up in Syracuse, New York. Jack worked there as a summer job growing up. And now I guess you could think of the Valley Fields Dome as a big greenhouse in this cold Milwaukee winter, although it is a bit nippy here. Certainly beats playing outside. Actually, Lacrosse is going to get some new facilities soon when the AHPRC, the Athletic Human Performance Research Center, goes up next year. They won't have an indoor lacrosse stadium as was first imagined, but they will have support staff, locker rooms, weight training spaces, which will really be huge for them because in their current facility, the Al McGuire Center, really that weight room was only equipped to fit 12, 15 people at a time. Here's Wagner trying to get himself into shooting position, quickly closed down by the long pole. Now over to Hankhaus. Shot clock is on, 15 seconds left in it. Here's Zerillo trying to rip it, and that one is wide of goal and nearly put a hole in the surrounding Valley Fields bubble. 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock, 4:04 on the game clock. Marquette has to get a shot off soon. This is Ryan Fazio now behind. McClelland, 1 second left on the shot clock, and that's a violation. Georgetown playing staunch defense, and nothing fires up a sideline in any sport, whether it be basketball or lacrosse, more than a shot clock violation on the other team.
Yeah, and if you're Marquette, you got to get a shot off there at least. Just throw it towards the goal.
There's Craig Burge. Dishing it up to Massimo Bocci. He's from Ithaca, New York, but he boarded for school at the IMG Academy down in Florida, the home of a lot of the nation's top athletes from across sports. Now behind goal, this is Buccaro. Been relatively quiet this half, trying to find some space behind Cage, and his defender slips. He's got a great chance at a goal. Nick Grill got up and immediately kind of put his hands on his head in disgust. He knew that he let Buccaro wide open. So the lucky break, getting his defender to fall down, results in the fourth goal of the day for Daniel Buccaro. We're back tied 7-7 with 3 minutes, 7 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to take, there's two takeaways I've got from this game so far. It's faceoffs 1 and turnovers. So Marquette is trailing 12-5 in turnovers, and they're winning in faceoffs 1, 10-6. A lot of Marquette's goals have come from these faceoffs 1, and a lot of Georgetown's goals have come from the turnovers, and that's puts us at 7-7 right now with 3:07 left in the third quarter.
Now possession goes to Georgetown. They say Hirschman is a little bit too quick on that draw. Behind goal goes Austin McDonald. Georgetown has a chance to take its first lead of the game. For how much Marquette has struggled over the last 3 games, it's crazy to think that the number 16 team in the country hasn't led once through almost 3 quarters.
That is pretty crazy to think about.
Quiet's fallen over the Valley Fields crowd in anticipation over what this possession will bring. Burge shut down. Dishing it back out. This is Jake Caraway. He's been quiet so far, looking for his first goal. Closed off by Connolly. Now over to Buccaro, double teamed. Back to Buccaro now. Caraway's got an open shot, saved by Blazer. Oh, that was a beautiful chance by Caraway, who's really had nothing going today, but Georgetown gets the ground ball. The Golden Eagles unable to take advantage of Blazer's save. Georgetown gets it right back. Marquette has the advantage in ground balls, 18-15. But the Hoyas have grown increasingly scrappy over the last couple of minutes of play. Here's Buccaro. Stick checks coming from Jordan McKenzie. On the far side, this is Buccaro. Dishing it back to Caraway. Now with a low rip is Lucas Wittenberg off the post. It got under the stick of Cole Blazer. It'll be back to Georgetown. Minute 10 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Shot clock not on yet. Wittenberg, left side. Ball bouncing around in the crease. Gobbled up by Blazer. Couldn't really make its way through a thicket of defenders in front of the goal. 7-all, 50 seconds remaining until we play our final quarter in this Big East season opener for both sides.
Blazer now has 12 saves on the afternoon, Andrew, and we've still got a full quarter to play. You had to talk about how he's really made an impact in keeping Marquette in this game.
Here's Zerillo. 30 seconds remaining on the game clock, so the Golden Eagles will be able to hold for the last shot if they so choose.
Which they should.
And no need to rush anything here. 17 seconds remaining on the game clock. Here's Matt Del Luca over to John Wagner. Wagner cutting from right to left, trying to find the angle. Dishes to Del Luca. Ball's bouncing around. 5 seconds remaining. Orsini trying to heave it over goal, and he does just that, although a little bit farther over goal than he'd imagined. We are tied 7-7 at the end of a hard-nosed third quarter. It'll come down to a decisive fourth quarter to see which of these teams are going to emerge victorious. The last 2 games have both been won or lost by a single goal.
So right now, Andrew, Georgetown's up to 30 shots on the afternoon. Blazers saved 12 of the 19 on goal, and that's incredible to me. He's played out of this world right now, and Morocco has played pretty well for Georgetown as well. He's got 5 saves, but for me, it's got to be Cole Blazer right now. He has been just so sensational in net, and if you're Marquette, just keep playing defense and keep fighting for your keeper because he has kept you in this game thus far. And one more thing to note, too, is that Marquette needs to keep winning these faceoffs because that is what gets them on the offensive possession, and they're up 10-7 right now on faceoffs won. So if they could keep that up, they could maybe start the fourth quarter off with a goal.
Well, faceoffs have been the Achilles heel for Georgetown. They've only won 44.3% of them on the year. But Cole Blazer showing why he made the All-Big East second team last year. This is about as good a goalie game as we've seen all season, multiple seasons.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. But let's pay some attention to Georgetown's goalie because he actually has a pretty interesting story. The senior Nick Morocco, he's a published author, that guy.
Really?
He actually wrote Lacrosse the Globe, he founded a consulting company, Athlete Express. So Nick Morocco doing big things off the field as well, and it's just so impressive when you hear about Nick Morocco being a published author, or Craig Burge doing what he does, or the guys that want to be an intensive care nurse when they graduate. I don't know how they have the time for all this, but my favorite part of broadcast prep is always learning things about the other team because after broadcasting 1 or 2 games for Marquette, the home team pretty well.
Yep.
But every single time it's like, oh, what kind of cool stories am I gonna find? And Nick Morocco being a published author, that's one of the cooler ones that I found, not just in lacrosse, but really any sport that I've done.
Yeah, and it's amazing to see the work that all these college athletes really put in on a daily basis. I mean, they're athletes and they're students, and they have so much on their plate. It's just crazy to see all that they can do and accomplish.
Well, right now, Nick Morocco has Marquette's offense on his plate. The senior from Duxbury, Massachusetts, has made 5 saves and 12 Marquette shots on goal, as opposed to Cole Blazer from Marquette, who's made 12 saves on 19 on-goal shots for Georgetown. So another matchup here between Jared Hirschman and Peter Tagliaferri. Peter Tagliaferri, the brother of Michael Tagliaferri, who was an attacker on North Carolina, graduated a year or 2 back. He scored 3 goals against the Golden Eagles 2 years ago in the NCAA tournament. North Carolina won that game 10-9. They would go on to win the NCAA championship that year. So Michael Tagliaferri killed Marquette in that game. Now Peter trying to win some faceoffs and do the same thing to this persistent, plucky squad.
And you see here to start the fourth quarter, Marquette winning that faceoff, trying to get a good possession here. And it's important, those faceoff wins.
Here's Wagner on goal line extended. No rush, I guess maybe trying to look for a cutter in the middle. Sees Marquette likes to get in close to goal and then lob it over the goalie and to the other side, over the cage. That's worked for them once or twice this game, specifically on that Connor McClellan goal back in the first quarter. Haven't really been able to do it since. One of the things you notice from Georgetown is that they're not just flocking to whoever has the ball. They're really being intentional about guarding away from the ball as well. Shot clock on. 25 seconds left. Griffin Fleming, far side, defended by Gibson Smith. Now back to Connor McClelland, Jack Zarillo. trying to gain some space. 15 seconds remaining on the shot clock. The Golden Eagles have had a run of shot clock violations here, close to getting another one. 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Wagner around a pick. No shot here. 5 seconds. And a high shot from, it looks like Griffin Fleming. Violation. Georgetown gets possession back. Although Marquette technically has it, but the shot clock's at 0. There seems to be some confusion. Georgetown kind of with their hands in the air. They think they should have it, and the refs will award them possession. So the first possession of the fourth quarter, an unsuccessful one for Marquette. In case you're just joining us, Andrew Goldstein, Dean Bibbins on the call. 7-7, 13 minutes remaining.
And it's been a great contest thus far here at Valley Fields.
Daniel Buccaro doing the lion's share of the scoring for Georgetown. 4 goals for him. Lucas Wittenberg, Craig Burge, and Matt Behrens each chipping in 1. For Marquette, John Wagner has 3, Griffin Fleming with 2, Connor McClelland and Luke Anderson both have 1. But it didn't look like the game would be close at all in the first half. Golden Eagles got out to a 6-2 advantage about halfway through the second. Georgetown pulled it back with 4 goals in the final 6 minutes of the half. And now Georgetown takes their first lead. How about that, folks?
Yeah, and now if you're Marquette, you got to regroup here, stay focused, try and win this face-off here coming up. And again, Andrew, you see the shot clock violation. That's a turnover, and that turnover leads to a Georgetown goal.
Daniel Buccaro with number 27 of the season and number 5 of the day. Is there anything that Daniel Buccaro hasn't done for this offense?
He's been incredible. I mean, he's scored over half their goals already in this game. So, I mean, he's been sensational, and he's now Georgetown's leading goal scorer this season. So.
Well, when Joe Amplo said that Buccaro was the best player Marquette's seen all year, he wasn't kidding. 8-7 Georgetown, 12 minutes, 29 seconds remaining. And a key face-off here. The Golden Eagles have won 11 of 18. Jared Hirschman filling in admirably for Zachary Malillo, who is not active. He's missed the last couple of games. He's the all-time leader in face-off win percentage. And Hirschman is doing his best Zachary Malillo impression, trying to get as low as possible and flip this ball up. Seems like Tagliaferri's strategy is to just kind of trap it and lie on it until he can flip it up a favorable way.
Going back to Buccaro's goal, Andrew, that is now his 27th of the season, and he now leads the NCAA in goals. Pending the results of other games, obviously.
Well, for all of the talented attackers in the country, Daniel Buccaro stands alone at the top, and he may not be done. Georgetown getting possession, refs awarding it, maybe after a loose ball push of some kind. Now knifing in is Massimo Bucci, taken down, no foul called, turnaround shot saved. Robert Clark tried to fire it off real quick. Cole Blazer was right there.
And that was a tough one, too, for Blazer because it looked like Marquette was going to get the ground ball there, but Georgetown came away with it, and Blazer reacted to that shot in a tremendous, tremendous way.
And now Warren is heated at the referee. I imagine he thought that should have been a foul on that push, but no call forthcoming. 8-7 Georgetown, 11 minutes, 12 seconds remaining. Golden Eagles have a chance to equalize. Wagner on the right wing, he's one-on-one. Have to imagine as he goes in, that'll change, and it did. McClelland shuffling it back over to Peter Henkhaus. Henkhaus drawing 2, trying to stay heads up and look for the open man, but Georgetown rotated in time. Another long offensive possession for Marquette. Griffin Fleming with the ball on his stick, chasing a far way along goal line extended. Over to Orsini. But trying for the inside roll, he won't find much success there. Now Fleming. Over to Wagner. 10 minutes remaining. Locked down by Kieran Jenkins. Usually Hersey's been the one to check him, but Kieran Jenkins doing a nice job as well. And there's a forced turnover. Loose stick from Wagner, and it'll be back to Georgetown. So Kieran Jenkins got both the ball and the stick from him. Usually you just get the ball.
And Andrew, with how good of a player Wagner is, he cannot try and force the possession this much. I mean, and it's been two straight, I feel like, where he's come down the field and he's tried to do a little bit too much with the ball and not really working out for him.
Timeout called. Both teams will take a minute or two's break, and I think that this can only help Marquette as they try and find a way to claw back. But a little more on Kieran Jenkins. If it seems like he's built like a football player, that's because he was. He was a running back in high school, set the single season record for touchdowns and carries. So he is equipped to handle a long bruising fight like this second half has been.
How many touchdowns did he have?
20.
Holy cow. Wow.
20 touchdowns.
That's pretty incredible.
8-7 Georgetown, largely thanks to their defense. I mean, the slides, the rotations, the double teams on attackers, they have all been about as perfect as you could get for the Hoyas this half.
Mm-hmm. And right now, too, Andrew, I think Wagner has 2 turnovers in this quarter alone, and I think those are his only 2 turnovers of the game, but he needs to realize that Georgetown is coming at him with 2 or more defenders at a time. So Wagner, when he sees that, dish it off to somebody else. Have faith in your teammates to make the play. I mean, they've been doing it all game, so it's only a 1-goal game. Plenty of time left for Marquette to try and equalize here.
Well, the Golden Eagles have 14 turnovers on the day as opposed to 5 for Georgetown. Hoyas leading in caused turnovers 6-1.
That's not a very good margin there for Marquette.
Yeah. So the Golden Eagles have been in equal parts, turning the ball over on their own accord and succumbing to Georgetown's pressure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have to figure that at least one of those is going to have to change if Marquette is to pull this game back in the last 10 minutes. So out of the timeout, Bucaro handling the ball. Nick Grill on him. Grill is usually a lockdown defender, but not today. Now behind the cage we go. Caraway calling for the ball, and he'll receive it on the left flank. Brendan Connolly, the long stick, who has been doing such a great job on Caraway all day, shadowing him all over the field. It's not very common that you see him with no goals and no assists.
Yeah, Caraway, a guy averaging 3.29 goals per game, so.
Yeah, so far it's a 0 on the day, as that's a loose ball picked up. Massimo Bocci, Johnny on the spot there. Now Bucaro's he had a decent matchup briefly, and he tried to use it to dish to a teammate, went just wide of goal. The matchup of Bucaro on a short stick is pretty much the nightmare scenario for Marquette.
And just a correction to Duke's Justin Guderding has scored 32 goals, but he's played 3 more games than Bucaro has this season. So Bucaro is second in the nation in goals.
Here's Caraway, shut down there by Anderson. Shoved to the ground on that shot attempt. It's backstopped by the Hoyas, so they'll get it back. Joe Amplo standing at attention on Marquette's sideline, assisted by Stephen Brundage, Jacob Richard, and Ryan Brown. For Georgetown, the coaching staff, Kevin Warren, Michael Phipps, David Shriver, and Chris Fisher. Phipps just joining the staff, coming from Navy. Now knifing in is Bucaro, saved by Blazer. That was a tough angle right up against near post. A couple of guys jousting for it, and coming away with it is Blazer.
Yeah.
An open net for Marquette, so you got to make that pass well. Georgetown riding, trying to get a transition opportunity going the other way. Poor pass there, but it is dug out by Wagner. So in a roundabout way, Marquette gets the ball back and clears successfully. At least it'll count as a successful clear. I'm not sure the process was exactly what the coaches had in mind.
Blazer now up to 15 saves on the afternoon, and that ground ball pickup was huge. He was heckled by two Georgetown defenders there, and I'm surprised he was able to come away with it and make a really good pass.
8-7 Hoyas. We have slipped under 7 minutes to play. 6:50 is the time on the clock. And the Golden Eagles haven't been able to get off a good shot for what seems like forever. And just as I say that, Connor McClellan buries it. His second goal of the day and 8th of the season. We're tied at 8.
Marquette's right back in this game, and this is exactly what you want if you're Marquette. Cole Blazer makes a great play at the other end. They come down, and McClellan fires a shot into the back of the net, and they're tied again. It's been a tremendous game all around, and I'm excited to see how this one finishes.
It seems like Georgetown thought Marquette was going to try and make a run at the top of the box, left that left flank open. McClellan had a small seam, took advantage of it. So Connor McClellan is on the board, goal number 8 of the season. 6 of his 8 goals have come right here at Valley Fields.
Now, if I have to make a prediction right here, Andrew, I'm going to say this game is going to go to overtime.
Well, the Golden Eagles have played 2 overtime games this year. Well, technically an overtime game and a double overtime game against Bellarmine. Marquette is 18-7 all-time in 1-goal games. And it's looking like that's what this one is going to be. They're 2-1 in 1-goal games this season, and that's a wonderful stick check by Nick Grill. Oh, man, Georgetown was getting ready to shoot, and Nick Grill just came up behind the surreptitious poke. So a quick one-out possession for Georgetown as we approach 6 minutes remaining in regulation. John Wagner will wait for his guys to get set. "We are Marquette," chanted on the other side. The fans located on the far side from both of the sidelines across a wide open field.
And again, if you're Marquette here on this possession, no need to rush. Just do what Amplo said, 20 to 30 passes in this possession here. Work for that good shot, and you could potentially come away with the lead here.
Here's Wagner taking on Ryan Hersey. That's been the matchup all day. Wagner versus Hersey, junior versus senior. And right there, neither of them won. It's more Nick Morocco, the goalkeeper, that won. He got off a decent shot. Nick Morocco anticipated it and took away the low shot to his right. Marquette will get it back, though. Anthony Orsini facilitating. Now over to Fleming. Wagner behind Cage. Around a screen from Orsini. He's got a little bit of space, and that one blocked away by Hersey. Ground ball. Henkhaus with a nice scoop. Peter Henkhaus has been all over the field, making those plays that don't necessarily show up on the box score, but in a close game like this could make the difference between winning and losing. 8-8, 4 minutes, 47 seconds remaining. Shot clock has not been turned on yet. Ball poked free from Wagner's stick by Hersey. Orsini behind goal. No goals but 2 assists today. He's looking to pass to someone, and instead he will find the stick of his defender, Connor Moran. Georgetown gets possession back. Another caused turnover, 15-6. Marquette leads in turnovers, although it's not the kind of lead that you want.
No, absolutely not. And again, if you're Marquette, you need to get a shot off there. You can't turn it over again and hope to win this game. 15-6. Oh, it's just a horrible margin.
4 minutes remaining in regulation. Oh, coming around the screen, trying to find a cutter is Nick Carraway. Robert Clark was the man trying to make that run in front of goal. And they're going to call a crease violation on Georgetown, so Marquette gets the ball back. And that's a quick clearance for the Golden Eagles. A long sidewinding shot, probably not the one that Joe Amplo wanted from Colin Reel, although the Golden Eagles will get it back. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. And really that Caraway to Clark potential action on Georgetown's side was a really good look.
It was, but, you know, it ended up in a turnover, and Marquette's got the ball back, so we'll see if they could capitalize on Georgetown's mistake.
Wagner, right side, knifing in, wide of goal. Ground ball picked up by Orsini. He shoved his man down, no call. Wagner one-on-one. Now spread up top to McClelland. Far side, this is Matt DeLuca. DeLuca only 3 shots and 1 ground ball in the year. He's played sparingly, but with this rash of injuries and sicknesses, he's had to play a lot more. 2 minutes, 47 seconds left in regulation. Over to DeLuca. And it's going to be a timeout. Joe Amplo wants to talk it over with his guys. I think he got the sense that they were a little bit unsettled. Shot clock coming on soon. Better call it and talk it over.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good timeout there by Amplo. Nothing was really going there for the Marquette offense in that possession. So try and reset here a little bit, regroup, try and get a play set up where maybe get Wagner another shot on target. He's got 13 this game, 3 goals. It's definitely a possibility here for Marquette to take the lead.
Well, the Hoyas and the Golden Eagles are no stranger to playing in close games. Georgetown's victory over Robert Morris was 12-11. Victory over Towson, 12-10. And played a 12-9 game against Hobart that was kind of close for most of it until Georgetown pulled away. Then for the Golden Eagles, they got the game winner with 9 seconds left in their season opener against Jacksonville a month ago, winning that one 11-10. They beat Ohio State in the Midwest Lacrosse Classic in Pontiac, Michigan, 8-7. Lost to Bellarmine 7-6 a couple days later in that very same event. So both of these teams are battle-tested despite this being just the first game of conference play.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Andrew, I think it's getting a little bit colder in here. Like, I had to put my jacket back on, but I'm shivering right now.
Yeah, it's a pretty intense sport, ain't it? Well, if you're Georgetown, you have to feel a little bit queasy anytime the ball's on the stick of John Wagner, and ditto for Marquette and Daniel Buccaro.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, both guys, they've got 23 combined shots this game. Buccaro's got 5 goals to Wagner's 3 goals. But if you're Marquette, you definitely want to work it through Wagner. Wagner just needs to be unselfish, though. He needs to realize when he's getting doubled, dish it off to one of his guys, and have faith that they'll capitalize on the opportunity.
Buccaro for Georgetown and Wagner for Marquette have combined to take 36.5% of all the shots in this game.
That's a pretty incredible statistic, huh?
Wagner's defender fell down. He tried to take advantage of the opportunity, fired wide.
And that percentage will just go up with that shot by Wagner.
Backstop by Fleming, dishes it off to DeLuca. 2.5 minutes remaining in regulation. DeLuca trying to find a guy over to McClelland, now to Jack Zerillo. Zerillo himself has 5 goals on the year. He might be a dark horse candidate to take that all-important shot at the end. Ground ball scooped up by DeLuca. No shot clock yet, which is surprising me. 2 minutes remaining in regulation.
Maybe the refs forgot after that Amplo timeout.
Now here's McClelland. Dishing it around to DeLuca. Golden Eagles not settling for anything less than the ideal shot, and the refs finally signal the shot clock on. 1 minute, 37 seconds remaining in regulation as John Wagner fires just a little bit wide. 21 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Shot clock back on. DeLuca trying to dish it into Wagner. That's a ground ball bouncing around. Couple of sticks from each team in there, and Georgetown comes away with it. Nick Morocco charging out of goal to deal with that one, and now Georgetown might get the chance to hold for the last shot. Buccaro matriculating behind net, under 1 minute remaining.
This is intense, Andrew.
Here's Bocci. Over to Buccaro. 43 seconds remaining. Craig Burge, who has 1 goal today, matched up with Noah Richard. Bucci with 28 seconds on the clock. Caraway hasn't scored a goal all day. Now back over to Bucci. Trying to work it around. Nice job of defense there. Now shuffling it back to Buccaro. Knifing in, shot wide.
Ooh.
7.5 seconds left in regulation. Timeout Georgetown. They will get to keep possession.
We're looking like I'm going to be 2 for 2 on predictions today with if this game gets sent to overtime here. And 7.5 seconds, still plenty of time for Georgetown to work with. And very, very close there by Buccaro again, almost firing that one into the net and sending Marquette home with a bitter taste in their mouth.
Well, Daniel Buccaro has 5 of Georgetown's 8 goals. And if you're the defense, if you're Marquette, you just have to be thinking, anybody but Daniel Buccaro.
Yeah, you got to limit him. Whether it means bringing 1 or 2 or 3 guys at him, you got to limit Buccaro.
So give me a little bit of insight here. What do you think Joe Amplo is saying to his team right now?
I think right now he's saying, guys, we're playing for overtime at this point. You need to make a defensive stand. This is the biggest game of the season right now for Marquette. They're going up against number 16 Georgetown. We got to come away and at least send this game to overtime. Make a statement here and come away with a big defensive stand. That's what he's saying to him.
Well, especially with ranked Villanova coming in here next week. The Big East, as deep as it's ever been, and to show you how deep it is, the Golden Eagles, which were technically the Big East champions last year because they won the tournament, picked to finish 4th out of 6 in the conference.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think Kevin Warren's saying to his guys?
Get it to Buccaro. Although maybe you don't put much stock in that prediction. Georgetown was picked to finish 5th out of 6th.
Really?
Yeah. Buccaro rolling under, trying to find a man. 2 seconds remaining. Ball poked free, and we're going to overtime.
Wow. Georgetown looked like they really wanted that goal there, but Marquette got a couple sticks on. I'm not sure if that was Buccaro who tried to fire that shot off. But again, Marquette, great defensive stand. You got to have confidence here now going into overtime. You were able to limit Georgetown to just 2 goals in the second half.
Yeah, Buccaro tried to roll his way right next to the net. Angle closed down admirably by Nick Grill. So Georgetown will be playing in their first overtime game of the season. But for the Golden Eagles, overtime is old hat.
It sure is, and they're very good in overtime. They beat Ohio State in overtime earlier this season, and for the Golden Eagles, it's just get a goal on the board. That's all you need. 1 to send him home and send Georgetown packing. It would be a huge ranked victory for the Golden Eagles.
Overtime is sudden death in college lacrosse.
It
So
sure
the
is.
first team to score wins it all.
And I think a really interesting thing after a relatively high-scoring first half, not tremendously high-scoring, but compared to the second half, both teams only scored 1 goal in each of the third and fourth quarters. So pretty low scoring and very good defense by both teams.
Yeah, if you take just the second half, 2-2. Most of the
That's
goal
it.
scoring happened in the first.
Yep.
There's really that long 10, 15-minute lapse from Georgetown to start, and then the 5-minute lapse from Marquette at the end of the first half. That's where most of the offense took place. Since then, both sides have been locked down.
Yeah, absolutely. And Marquette had a pretty big advantage in face-offs won earlier in the game, but it's only 11-9 now. And the turnover margin keeps growing, it feels like. They're now 16 turnovers to Georgetown 7 only. So Marquette needs to play good, just keep good possession here and just not turn the ball over. Work a good shot, and maybe you'll come away with a victory today.
For those of you who are unacquainted with college lacrosse, Each overtime period is 4 minutes long, and they will keep playing 4-minute overtime periods until somebody scores and sends the crowd home either jubilant or depressed.
Yeah.
Hirschman and Tagliaferri to take the faceoff. The Golden Eagles have an 11-9 faceoff advantage. Make it 11. No, check that, 12-9. Georgetown looked like they were going to scoop it up, but they didn't do it. And Joe Amplo wants a timeout immediately after Marquette wins possession to talk things over. But what a big face-off win that was.
Yeah, it looked like Georgetown was going to come away with the possession there, but I believe it was Wagner who came away with the. Was it Wagner who came away with the scoop on that?
Yeah, there were a couple sticks in there. It looked like Wagner at least got the edge of his stick onto the ball.
Yep.
And the Golden Eagles are able to draw up a play, talk things over. And you have to think that it's going to John Wagner here.
Oh, it has to. It has to. And again, Wagner needs to just think about what's going on the field. He's going to get 2 or 3 guys drawn to him. And if somebody else is open, make the pass, because Marquette has capable scorers on this team. McClellan scored 2 today. Fleming has also scored 2 today. So they do have some capable scorers on the field alongside Wagner.
Well, of the Golden Eagles' 8 goals, 5 have been assisted, as opposed to only 2 of 8 for Georgetown. Really, it's just been Daniel Buccaro beating his man time after time.
And Andrew, if you're Joe Amplo here, could you have asked for anything better than to go to overtime with one of your best friends, Kevin Warren?
Yeah, well, Joe Amplo just said, I want my guys to put up a good effort. Our best effort may not be enough to beat Georgetown the way they've been playing, but I just want our guys to put forth their best shot for 60 minutes. So I think this game has already turned out better than Joe Amplo might have expected.
But at this point, you definitely think he wants that. He could taste the victory here. He could taste it. Marquette's got possession. They could just fire a good shot on net. You never know. They could come away with the victory over a ranked team today.
Well, either way, this will be the 3rd Marquette-Georgetown game in a row to end with the winning team winning by only a goal.
Good competitive nature.
Here's Wagner shut down. Over to Zerillo. Now back to Wagner. Closely guarded by Hersey. You want your best defender on the best attacker, and that's what Georgetown's got.
Yep.
Long stick midi. Trying to shut him down. Wagner scores! John Wagner with his 3rd game-winning goal of the year.
And Wagner with his 4th goal of the day. What a better way to finish. And he does it again in overtime. Incredible, incredible goal by Wagner. Marquette wins 9-8.
It looked like Hersey was trying to take away that crease space, and Wagner just beat him right around the corner, went far post, and delivered an improbable victory for the Golden Eagles. 9-8, Marquette moving to 4-3 on the year, Georgetown falling to 6-2. 3 of Marquette's 4 victories have ended on John Wagner game-winning goals. How about it, folks?
And I can't talk enough about Wagner's footwork there. Everybody expects him to go to that left side, but he comes around, drives to the right, and fires it with his right hand and puts it in the back of the net. He dekes out his defender 9 times out of 10. It's just a tremendous, tremendous performance by John Wagner today.
Joe Amplo said that John Wagner hadn't been playing up to his potential over the last 3 games. He was challenging Wagner to kind of lead the offense. Well, I think it's safe to say that he responded to that challenge in kind. 4 of Marquette's 9 goals today from John Wagner. And on the other side, Daniel Buccaro put up as valiant of an effort as you could. 5 goals on 11 shots. And the Golden Eagles take their home opener. Have you recovered yet? Has your heart gone down to regular levels?
I don't think so. I'm still trying to process what just happened. And for Marquette to have turned the ball over almost 10 more times than Georgetown in this game and still come away with a victory, it's just a hats-off effort again to Cole Blazer, the goalkeeper. He just played so well. 15 saves on 23 shots on goal. I mean, that's insane. It's just so freaking good.
Then Brendan Connolly, Noah Richard taking away Jake Carraway for most of the day. Carraway entered with 23 goals, 12 assists for Georgetown. He had no goals and no assists today. So it's about time to get you some final stats, folks. Georgetown leading in the shot column, 36-33. Leading in the shot on goal column, 23-15. But of those 23 shots on goal, 15 were taken away by Cole Blazer as opposed to only 6 that Nick Morocco saved of Marquette's 15. No extra man goals today. 2 penalties on Georgetown. Golden Eagles took the face-off advantage, winning 12 of 21. Both teams pretty good on clearance, 13 of 14. Turnovers favored Georgetown big time. Golden Eagles had 16 giveaways. Georgetown only 7. And then the Hoyas caused 7 of those 16 giveaways opposed to Marquette only causing 2 of 7 for the Hoyas. So Marquette did their darndest to let Georgetown back into the game, especially after that hot start. But John Wagner, the hero again. And how many games are going to end in a John Wagner goal?
I don't know, but, if you're Joe Amplo, you got to take it. You got to love the effort by your team. And that's Marquette's second-ranked victory of the season now. I mean, they come out to play against the best teams in the country.
Well, Wagner had 4 for Marquette. McClellan and Fleming had 2. Luke Anderson had 1. For Georgetown, Bucaro 5. Wittenberg, Burge, and Behrens both had 1 goal. So as we prepare to say goodbye, I, as always, want to thank our hardworking staff and volunteers. I always say it takes a village to make a broadcast.
It sure
We've
does.
got a pretty darn good village here at the Marquette Wire. Connor Stanley, Sebastian Becerra, Iziomo Okoro Osademe, Katie Dwyer, Tom Hillmeyer, and Matt Unger. Special thanks to Tom Hillmeyer and Matt Unger, our producers, for setting up all the equipment and making sure the broadcast stays on the air.
Yeah, they always do such a great job.
First class. So we've got one more TV broadcast left this season, women's lacrosse on, I believe that's April 8th. We'll be blasting out Twitter info on that when it gets closer. And of course, for all your sports coverage, including radio broadcasts of games where we don't have any TV, you could go to marquettewire.org or check our Twitter handle at MUWireSports for more info. Any final thoughts on this one?
Andrew, I had a great time calling this game with you. It was a thrilling match and awesome win for Marquette.
Well, how could you not? For all of us here at the Marquette Wire, I'm Andrew Goldstein. Your final, Marquette 9, Georgetown 8. Drive home safely. Thanks for listening, Mom and Dad.